Second round of questioning. Mr. Tierney, it's your time to ask questions for a second round.
Mr. Jones, prior to your as the chief of the Office of Law Enforcement, what experience have you had with regulating fisheries or enforcing fishery regulations?
None.
Had you done any enforcement of civil administrative violations for criminal activity?
Nothing extensive, no. My background is primarily municipal law enforcement prior to my taking this position.
Sir, do you recall in 2006, I think it was September 2006, the former Mayor John Bell, Senator Bruce Tarr, Representative N.M.F.S, Louis Linquata, and Jackie Odell, George McKay from my office, and others came down to Washington to meet with you, and at that time it was, I believe, Mr. Hogarth, to talk about the improper tactics that were being complained of, the fact that there were enforcement of fishery regulations that seemed to be severely in question, derogatory language, imposition of appropriately high fees and penalties. Do you remember that visit?
I remember, yes, I did.
Do you remember promising at the end of that visit that you would come to Gloucester and talk with everybody, and I assume that you do?
I remember it, and I do not want to be argumentative about it. There were some misunderstandings about the fault on that, and we did make extensive number of attempts to follow through with our commitment in that regard.
Well, did you ever come directly after that and before the auction was raided at the end of 2006?
No.
So I guess, to be fair to you, I think what you're saying, tried to get here and couldn't get here for some reason?
Yeah, there were some, again, yes.
What have you done, or what did you do following that visit in September 2006 to remedy any of the problems that were raised?
I looked into the complaints that I was aware of and to determine what the background of those complaints were and to try to make some determinations as to whether there were actually any improper conduct or was any improper conduct on behalf of our employees.
Can you tell me why you never established more formal guidelines for the use of the forfeiture funds?
The Magnuson Act has a direct set of specific areas that it can be used for. We follow that. And secondly, again, as I stated earlier, our use of the fund is done in the same manner as what we use other funds for throughout NOAA.
You're familiar with the Inspector General's findings in his report that the Northeast area suffered fines of $5.5 million, which is 2.5 times the amount for the next highest region and 5 times or more higher than the other 4 regions. Given that, and given all the other information in the Inspector General's report and the complaints that you've heard since 2006, you didn't think that some remedial action was necessary, both with the fund and with respect to responding to these complaints?
Let me just first state clearly that I do not have responsibility for the attorneys and for the setting and establishment of funds. We investigate the cases and I pass those, my office passes those to the Office of General Counsel. But beyond that, to say that, have we followed through, did we look at that, again, once again, the fund expenditures are done in accordance with the same as any other NOAA account, so there's checks and balances along the way for that and for looking at how appropriated money is spent as well as fund money. The actual fund levied and the levels of those we've taken a look at, and there's some numbers in there, but again, that doesn't fall directly under my responsibility, but I do know that NOAA will fall through in looking at that.
I'm having a hard time, Mr. Jones, when I look at all of the complaints gone back to you and to NOAA from this community and others in the Northeast in particular, but elsewhere in the country as well. How is that you know all of those complaints, that you're familiar with all the situations, you now know the Inspector General's report and all the grievances that he cites in there, how you can put out a directive in it to your staff indicating that you see nothing or perceive nothing will be wrong on that basis? I think it shows that you're out of touch with what's going on in your agency there.